to just throw it out there. Does anybody have any open meeting business? Tiger, would you like to continue your conversation about the crash pad question, or was that answered pretty well for you?
Well, I guess it's pretty much answered. I didn't think if someone new came in, I would even be able to talk to them. But if they can get into the Hangout, then that's fine. That's the important thing, is that if someone else comes in that none of us can see, because like a lot of us can't see the crash pad, obviously. That's my concern.
I think that's why they added the Hangout voice channel also, because we have sometimes what we call drive-by, where people will hop in the crash pad when they see almost nothing of the service. We think they get maybe what's the word? They get a little bit
discouraged.
Yeah, discouraged, and they just go ahead and leave.
Oh, yeah, if they can't see anybody.
Right. Well, we can't get to know somebody just through text, so we offer them the ability to speak to us and hang out and get to know us quickly that way too.
So here's a question: can you make it so they can see all the channels and just not have access to them, so they can see all the people in here?
That's a good one. I'm going to make a note of that for Sky, because I honestly don't think you can do both. I don't think you can mutually exclusive give somebody vision of it without giving access to it, but I'll have to ask them to mute. We got some people typing, maybe they know.
Might I add a suggestion to that?
Absolutely, Everett.
Is there any way we could just put in the little fish sticks welcome text how many members are on the server, even though they can't see all of them? That way they would at least see how many members there are, even though, you know, they're not listed.
Okay, can you phrase that for me just one more time so I can type it out good?
So in the fish sticks welcome message, if we could just add in there how many members are active or how many members are on the server, that would solve the problem of them not seeing a bunch of people, because
so they won't think it's a ghost town they've entered.
Exactly.
That's a very good suggestion. I asked you to repeat it just so I could get it all typed out properly. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm going to ignore AJ's wacky wavy inflatable tube man suggestion. There's just no place for that. Okay. Okay, yeah. Kessa's answering part of this was it was the member list that was actually being attacked. People were getting direct DMs from trolls of like all kinds of horrible pictures and all kinds of different things. Traumatizing stuff. So giving someone access directly to the member list is only going to work if we can make absolutely certain everybody has their direct DMs turned on. So this is I'm going to have to pose these questions to Sky Ranger and see what we can figure out. I mean, if all else fails, maybe we can add a few more channels to the guest view, something of that sort. We'll have to see. But yeah, what Cuss is saying is we are open to having more moderators on the server. So if there's people like Tiger, for example, who would like to say, hey, you know, I can't see who's in CrashPad. Is there a way I could be able to see who's in CrashPad? We can give those individuals mod, and they'd be able to help us filter in some people.
If you're looking for volunteers.
Yeah, it would be good for a lot of us to be able to see them, because, yeah, at least if they're in there and they don't see anybody else, someone can stop in there and say hi to them and let them know we're here.
Yeah, I think Everett is also trying to refine what he was saying is if we could just have Fishstick spit out like a number. There are currently, you know, this number of people on this server rather than like who they are specifically. I really don't see why we couldn't figure out what that variable is, because I do know that some of the Discord webhooks that go for websites like that allow you to make little buttons for your websites and stuff, they automatically feed the number of people active on the server at that moment into that little code. So I don't see why we couldn't do that in one of our greeting messages. It would literally just pull the active number of people at that moment every time somebody sees it. You know what I mean?
Does Discord have anything like, I know TeamSpeak used to have, where there's like a TeamSpeak viewer where you didn't even have to be in the server and you can see who was all in it? Does Discord have anything like that, or do you? I mean, I know with Discord you can see who's in it before you run enter, but I don't know if there's any way other people could see like who's in our Discord.
Not exactly the same. TeamSpeak had a thing called like a query server, where without being connected to the actual TeamSpeak server, you could administrators could get in through the query server and they could find out who's online, what their IPs are, all kinds of crazy information that only admin should really be able to get. I've never seen anything quite like that for Discord. I'm not saying there's not anything like that. I'm just saying I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, TeamSpeak, you used to be able to put it on the website. You could see who was all in the server without even going into TeamSpeak.
They do have sort of like that for Discord, but it's one of those things that it's not very secure, and I mean, I'd have to discuss it with Skyreacher. We talked about it in the past, and he was not a fan, mostly for security reasons.
Well, yeah, if there's danger about it.
Yeah, see, at one point, Tecker, we had a troll who, we had one of those invite buttons on the website that was like one of the original Discord integration buttons. And what was interesting about it was they actually took the invite that was hidden in the HTML of that button and invited themselves to our server. So they didn't actually have to have an invite from a person. They found it hidden in the HTML of our website, invited themselves, and then proceeded to troll everybody. This was before we had the crash pad to stop that kind of behavior. So for a little while, we actually had to turn off all of that stuff on the web that tells you how many people are online and all that. For that very reason, people were inviting themselves without any prompting.
How rude.
Yeah, and it's not something that the normal person could figure out. You got to know what you're doing to figure that out.
Well, I'm not normal. I should be able to do it then.
I don't know if anyone saw what I said, but maybe you could have an opt-in role to be able to see the crash pad, so that people who are willing to like risk getting DMs and stuff can opt into it.
Well, right now, what Kessa is doing, she's getting a list of people that are interested in being moderated. By default, moderators can see the crash pad. Now, there are various other things that the moderators are involved in that maybe, let's say we were talking to you specifically about moderator. There might be things the moderators can do that you might not want to opt into. So I guess going by the way you said that, we could create another role besides moderator that can only deal with crash pad. Is that kind of your suggestion?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying.
Yeah, like a specifically a greeter mod, sort of.
Yeah, so you can just interact with new members and
Okay,
so
well,
they
the
can see
rules,
more of the community other than just
if we do that, Cyrus, you have to change your hair color to like a silver and wear a blue vest that says Walmart.
Are you narking on Silver?
Of course.
You have to greet everybody. Everybody, you hear me?
Silver is a beautiful color.
All right.
All right. Well, anybody else have any questions or thoughts about this particular issue? Because we don't want to get stuck on it for too long.
I was trying to find a raised hand emoji, but I'm on my phone.
Yeah, my condolences. Go ahead.
So, it would be fine to be a mod who is only interested in greeting people. That's one of the things our mods do, not all of them. We have mods who specialize, you might say, in moderating the discussion den, and other mods who want nothing to do with that channel. So far we haven't found the need to split the roles to address those two issues. So if you're trustworthy and you've been around for a while and you'd like to be a mod and just greet people, that's, you know, and you can be trusted basically with server business, then you can ask for mod with the understanding that, you know, you don't want to be kicking or banning people or necessarily handling discussion den. You can just greet people, and you understand that you may be exposed to some trolly stuff like the graphic images we were talking about. Not everybody wants to or is ready to be exposed to that kind of.
To deal with that crap.
Exactly.
Yeah, it can get pretty nasty.
If you need somebody banned, I can handle that.
Yeah.
Don't
Well-
give it to him. She said you have
Cyrus
to
is
be
acting-
trusted.
Cyrus is asking what's expected of mods and like what their duties are and stuff. Well, the very first thing you have to do is you have to send a check for $700 and fill out some forms in triplicate. You have to buy an elevator pass to the pool from me.
You know, just take the 700 and run.
Yeah. These are all inside jokes. I thought Robsor wanted some of the funds too. But anyway, people believe me. Why would they do such a thing? Anyway, no, really, honestly, moderators in our community have gone a little bit of evolution since the days where we were on a forum till the days now we're on Discord. On Discord, basically, a moderator, we would expect you at the very basic level to just watch over for trolls, things like that. If you're kind of more advanced in things, you might be like a mediator when you see that people are starting to have issues with each other. A really great example of what moderators have done recently, when people post maybe YouTube videos or other links that are questionable, that may have some content in them that's not so great, they'll either mention it to the poster or maybe pull it and mention to people why it was pulled, that kind of thing. Basically, a moderator's job is just to keep the community clean and nice and unthreatening and you know, not too controversial, that kind of thing. Catch trolls, that sort of thing. Yeah, like a hall monitor.
Now don't be mean.
Yeah, Kessa makes another point. Occasionally, you're going to come across information about folks that we're hoping what we can trust you with. What I mean by that is, like, for example, say we had somebody who was on our server at one time and they got a reputation for being problematic on numerous servers. That doesn't mean you need to go around telling people about that person. Your job would be, okay, I've been told about this person, I'll watch out for that person, and that's it. You don't go any further with that information. We need to be able to trust that
Well,
people won't.
wouldn't you want them to bring it to the council members at least?
Oh, absolutely. But I'm saying we would keep it within staff. You wouldn't go out and be like, oh, well, don't get in the conversation with that person because you should hear what I heard about him and start gossip. You know. Another good point from Kessa. Kessa's on the ball this evening. Moderators are sometimes asked to be part of the membership applications group, which, if you're going to be viewing CrashPad, going to be a large part of your job. You're expected to kind of feel out people when they come into CrashPad and hang out and sort of see if they seem to be right or if they seem to be spooky or whatever. And when membership apps come through on the server, you get to read their responses to a set of questions that we put on our application, and just kind of give your idea of whether you would immediately vote for them, not vote for them, if you think you should wait and they should participate a bit more, that kind of thing. And if you mod really, really, really good, you might eventually become a council member, which I warn you against. Council membership is not all that you think it is. It's actually kind of
Painful.
boring, full of drama. Yeah, that too.
So is that like phenomenal cosmic power in an itty-bitty little living space?
No, actually, I mean, council is way more boring than people think it is. I think we get some drama occasionally, but the drama has really gone down a lot in the last few years.
Yeah, it's not what it used to be.
What Scribe? What did I say about gossip a minute ago here? He's probably talking about me. Is it because of that $700 you sent me and I never refunded?
You never refunded me, Neil.
Dude, I didn't send you the $700 immediately. You charged me interest.
Well, I mean, did a guy from the Bronx ever show up at your door with a baseball bat?
Hey now.
He told me he was from Queens.
Or, you know,
The
you
King
can't
of
be talk-
Queens.
You can't be talking about that kind of stuff like that because there are some people on the call that are, from that kind of part of the country, if you know what I mean, eh?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Kentucky.
Yeah, I
You're
got
making
you,
fun
man.
of me
No
there,
problem.
Pig?
No problem, dude. No problem.
Actually, I am from New York, but okay.
Yo. I think we're getting sidetracked a little here.
A little.
At any rate, okay. So we've kind of hit on the crash pad thing, and we've kind of morphed that into asking if people would be interested in moderating, that kind of thing. I think Kessa has a pretty good list of people already that are interested. Another thing that I'll mention that is kind of goes hand in hand with moderating. They're different roles, but they sometimes work together. Our event coordinators and our moderators sometimes work together because moderators are perfect companions to a person who's trying to be an event coordinator and get an event rolled out, and a moderator can help them get everything lined up perfectly and get the appropriate announcements together, that kind of thing. There are two members of staff that can really seamlessly help each other a lot. So if you're a moderator, you may also be interested in learning about event coordination. Also, you do not have to be a moderator to become an event coordinator. If you want to throw together a weekly event in CC, you don't have to do anything to earn that role. We'll help you out.
Unless it's a weekly Worship the Devil event, then we might have to cancel it.
Well, in that case, we'll just get Pink Jockey to send out a few assassins from New York.
Send out his boys.
Didn't you work on a nuclear sub?
I know a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy.
Okay.
No, he's a sub guy.
I might know that guy.
And yes, I was a submariner, so yes.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna ask one more time. Anybody else have any interesting questions or concerns or thoughts or suggestions that have to do with this particular issue before we move on? And please, folks, don't feel at all as if your suggestion or thoughts would like slow things down or whatever. We have gone like a month without a really good. So if we take a couple of minutes to delve into what you want to talk about, that's what our meetings are for. Please don't be shy. That's actually an interesting question, AJ. At the moment, the way things are set up, above moderators is really only council. So, for example, if a moderator were way out of line, a council member would probably be the person that would say, "Hey, yo, crossing a line there, buddy." But now, I mean, moderators are expected to keep an eye on other moderators too. I mean, not in a bad way, not in a secret police, kind of way, but
I was
kinda
gonna say
like-
Kessa needs to be watched pretty closely.
Yeah, Doc can attest to that.
there are certain members. I'm not going to say we're all human here, and none of us are perfect. We know
I am a
there are
robot.
going to be, well, exception to the rule. We know there's been occasions where council members, moderators, doesn't matter what level of staff they are, have broken out of their comfort zone and have become a little bit vociferous and a little bit angry, and they got into a debate they shouldn't have, and we hold each other accountable. So if you're asking that question in a way like, do mods hold other mods accountable? Yes, they're expected to.
It's not a free pass.
Yeah, any member of this community is welcome to hold any other member of this community accountable. I just don't want it to turn into like argumentativeness and divisiveness and all that. Obviously, we want to follow the tenets set forth in Matthew 18 and come to that person privately. If that doesn't work, we come to that person privately with another brother or sister, and so on. But that Matthew 18 is not just wise, it's proven to be extraordinarily effective in our community. So please, if you do moderate, make a point of reading Matthew 18. And yes, Kessa is right. CMs themselves have been held accountable by lots of other folks besides other CMs. Alrighty, so also Cyrus has also mentioned, Kessa, that he's interested.
I'll put it down.
Maybe we should have like a mod master class where I tell everyone how to get people to fill out forms in triplicate and send money over the internet.
You should make YouTube videos on how to be a good mod.
Make YouTube videos on how to send me your appropriate credit card numbers and the security code on the back. $700, doctor.
Great video.
Not including paperwork fees. Alrighty, seriously though, anybody else have any open meeting business they'd like to add this meeting before we get into specifics?
I guess I just wanted to bring up real quick. I don't know if anybody else here is playing Warzone. I know myself, Neo, and Football are. If anyone else is interested, it's a free game that is becoming very popular. It's Call of Duty Battle Royale, and then they have a plunder mode. It is a huge download, but again, it's free. It's a lot of fun. So if any of you want to join us, please do.
I'd like to add to what Tiger just said real quickly and say that a lot of people in our community have been like anti Call of Duty people and more like Battlefield type people that play those kind of games. I was one of them. If you don't like Call of Duty, that does not mean you won't like Warzone. Warzone is a lot of fun. It really is.
Yeah, I absolutely hated Call of Duty in the past, so I'm one of those haters as well that loves this game. So
yeah, so if that's your turnoff for not wanting to try, don't listen to yourself.
Later next week, we'll be able to get in there. I'm getting better internet, so
yeah, I think if we get enough people together, we're going to build what's called a regiment. And inside their game system, if you have a regiment, it can be huge. I mean, it can be like 20 members, 30 members, whatever. You can't all play at the same time, but you can, if you have a regiment and you have your own graphics section and all that for your regiment, you can actually set a happy hour for your regiment. And anybody that plays the game that particular hour of the day, whatever day of the week it is, you get like double experience every time you play that hour. Stuff like that.
They did that with Titanfall too.
Yeah, well, they've added it to this Warzone now. So
I was gonna say I don't drink, but that sounds better.
yeah. So That was a good thing to bring up, Tiger. I've seen a lot more people playing it lately. So,
yeah, I've seen a lot of old CC members that haven't been around in a while playing it too.
Indeed. So it's kind of
Well,
Suki
Suki plays it, I
attacking.
believe.
Yeah, it's Call of Duty Warzone, Cyrus. It's got two major modes. One is Battle Royale, which is much like all the other games, and one is Plunderer, which is
Very different.
very different. It's similar in
Strategy-wise.
gameplay, but but you don't when you die you come right back. It's hard to explain.
The idea is you want to get the most money. So it's
Yeah.
more about looting than fighting, although you can do whatever you prefer to.
So,
But the weaponry is pretty good in the game, and it has vehicles. It even has helicopters, things like. I'm sorry, Everett. You were about to say something. What did you say?
no, I stopped.
Yeah, Cal mentioned you can download and play it through the Blizzard launcher, but you can also cross-platform play with PlayStation people, Xbox people, and I think you can link your Activision account to it as well.
Yeah, there is
that's
some
true.
with the count.
And I think they have like I want to say it's like an aim enhancement for people that are on console, so that you're kind of balanced and more equal with people that are on keyboard and mouse. So you very rarely will see a difference in gameplay ability between the console players and the PC players because of the aim assist.
Yeah, I've heard they have some kind of auto aim thing. I don't know exactly how it works.
A little bit. It's a little bit of help. All right, so we'll consider the Warzone thing separate. Now, does anybody else have any specific questions or thoughts or concerns or suggestions? It doesn't matter how minor, it really doesn't.
Mentioning, while we were mentioning games, I just figured mention that there's a lot of people that are interested in doing some Minecraft, possibly setting up a Minecraft server when the newer update drops, whenever that drops. I'm definitely interested in that, but I was curious, how have we handled like servers in the past? Because I thought CC used to have a Minecraft server.
CC used to have a literal group of server boxes in an actual data center, and we ran multiple servers off of that. But this was several years ago, and I think Minecraft was probably at the tail end of it. Once we sold off the server box, we started getting into more decentralized games that we don't have servers physically for. All of our centralized games like Minecraft right now are actually running on Skyranger's Planetary Dynamics server, which he pays for out of his own pocket, I might add. So there are some specific servers that are run through his system. I believe he has a Minecraft right now. I'm not sure what the whitelisting situation is, how you get on that server. You can ask Sky about it. But your question as far as like how we do it, if somebody actually has a specific server or they specifically host a particular game they want CCers to get into, they need to approach the staff and let us just kind of vet everything and see where it all stands. But since most games nowadays are on decentralized servers, it's very hard for us to do actual like administration like we used to do on our own box. We had full control over absolutely every variable. We don't have that anymore, except on Planetary Dynamics servers.
Okay, cool.
Sorry if that was wordy.
No, you're fine.
AJ, I want to jump back real quick to what you asked about political discussion. Political discussions sort of officially fall in the same range as things like denominational discussion. If you can have a nice conversation with a person of an opposite belief and keep it civil, we tend to ask for people to keep that in the discussion den only. The reason for that is because not only has the discussion den been specifically designed for those discussions, But when you join the discussion den, in order to speak, Fishstick sends you the rules. And in order to speak, you have to basically tacitly agree to those rules. So if you get taken out of a conversation in the den, or if you get a kick or anything like that, you have already been warned, if that makes sense. So yeah, we try to keep anything that could be compromising or controversial in the den. We are occasionally going to have a meme or a little joke maybe told, and that's on a case-by-case basis. We had somebody post a video the other day that was across the line of sort of sensationalistic, and a mod pulled that video. Yeah, and once you do get into discussion den, you have to understand that you're going to be watched like a hawk. And there is a possibility, however remote, when you get in the discussion den, that discussion could get heated. And if you can't take the heat, you should not be in the kitchen. So if you go into the discussion den expecting to have an argument, you're going in with the wrong mindset. You should be going in with an open-minded, wanting to speak with someone, expose each other to similar beliefs that are different, that kind of thing. But if you go in there expecting to have an argument, don't go in. Yeah, Kess is going back to the Minecraft thing here. Sky's, he's working right now on, I think doesn't he have an ARC server and a limited Minecraft server, right?
There is an ARC server, yes.
And he's ironed out the issues with it the last couple of days, Silver?
As far as I'm aware, I've been unable to get on. I've been so busy, but Shadow got on. I know Shadow's been on almost every day for a little bit. I think. I'm getting on after the meeting though, because yeah.
Because you finally have some free time?
It's a reward for paying my bills on Wednesday. I had to pay my medical bill. And so to reward myself, I was going to get on, and then just stuff happened the last couple of nights and I wasn't able to.
Alrighty. Again, anybody have any other questions as far as our servers or anything like that? We kind of jumped through about 4 topics there. Any other questions about the discussion den or any kind of serious conversational issues? Anything we've touched on in the last few minutes? I mean, I do want to give you a little bit more of a disclaimer about discussion den. If you go into discussion den with the express purpose of changing minds as Kessim, you're going in there with the wrong mindset, because we've had people who've actually been removed from discussion den and who no longer have access to it because they have this style of debate where they literally do not listen to anyone, and they go in and they cite a bunch of sources, and even the sources can be problematic for other people. And it was just very one-sided, and that's not a discussion. We're looking for discussions. As far as the role to getting into the den is concerned, my understanding is if you try to join discussion den, you'll get a message from the bot and it'll explain it all. I'm not sure how that is at the moment. Would you happen to know, Kessin?
What was the question?
About the getting into the discussion den the first time.
So I don't think we ever got around to implementing the newer system yet. Right now, it's just you make a post, Fishsticks will delete it and send it to you, and you need to click one of the emojis that he asks you to, and you're in. In the future, there's going to be an application process, very brief, somewhat like a membership application, and people won't even be eligible until they've been on the server 3 to 6 months, something like that. The reason being that most of the people who've caused problems in the den were causing problems in other channels first. So we're hoping to just eliminate that. It was, not a den problem, it was a common courtesy problem.
Precisely, yes. Very well said.
3 to 6 months. Well, a great many people don't even stick around that long. So if we're going to make the effort of moderating them in the den, where it's, for me anyway, it's emotionally draining, we want to know that have they conducted themselves well in the rest of the server. That's the acid test. And if they have, awesome. We have had some people who are around 3, 5, 6 months even, and then just go completely loco. Like nobody saw it coming. And
I feel like you're attacking me.
no,
Something about her.
I mean full on attacking staff and just we don't know what happened.
There must
yeah, so,
there must
I
be
know-
some way this victimizes Silver Houdini.
Always.
I know one thing I've noticed that happened is
Wasn't her, I promise.
somebody will start a conversation and then they'll be like, hey, that's better for discussion den, and just send it down there and the problem isn't really solved.
Oh,
That's
but
me.
see,
That's
that's the
why-
thing. Once it's in discussion, then it is solved because it's either going to get really heated or it's going to get like stopped,
Right.
depending on how they act at that point.
Mhm.
I don't know how to explain it. We have a weird little line. Once you're in the den and you're following the rules in the den, we give you a little bit more latitude as long as you're pleasant, but we give you less latitude as long as you're acting the fool. So if you're acting the fool, expect to be like hammered with the band hammer very quickly. If you're acting respectful and nice, expect to have a little more latitude to say what you want to say because you're no longer in the open normal channels. I get part of the reason for the discussion den. I don't want people to think that we're trying to sweep things under a channel carpet. So one of the reasons for it is because Discord has persistent chat. And we don't want some new 14-year-old kid to come into our server, get recognized, and the first thing he sees is a big, long debate on, creation versus evolution or some other thing or some political difference. We want him to come in and be welcome. We want him to see that this is about God and about Christ, and that we are also gamers and we also like, fun stuff. We don't want them to come in and say, oh my goodness, this place blows up every time somebody says, Democrat, Republican, whatever. So that's part of it. We're not trying to sweep things under the carpet. We're trying to give every place an appropriate place so that it doesn't poison the entire server. If that makes Well, no, AJ. Originally, we had a very large debate about actually creating the discussion in it first. I'll be dead honest and say I was totally against the idea at first because the way it was presented. And now that I've seen it in operation and I've seen people like the doctor and Kessa and so on trying to maintain order, I give it its due. There's a place for it as long as people behave themselves. Hiding it completely would seem to me would be like, that. Let me give you that analogy again of a young person coming into the service and they look everywhere and they cannot find open and frank discussions about things that they want to know what our opinions are. Well, if they get into discussion, then they can find some of those open and frank discussions. If that makes sense. But again, this is a CC meeting, and it's called a CC meeting because if enough people agreed that something should be changed, that's exactly what the meeting is for. Anytime you want to throw out a suggestion like that, I mean, that's totally okay. And I do apologize, folks. I'm trying to take good notes this meeting because we've talked about a lot of different things, but I guarantee you I'm going to miss some things. So. If there's something after the meeting that was supposed to be in there that was very important to you, please let me know and I'll make sure it gets put back in. That's a good suggestion, Sly. Actually, if you'll note that, Kessa, that she said maybe it could be something where you request admittance into the channel rather than like a time period. And I think even in a situation like that, we're going to wait until you're at least, you've been around a week or so.
We have kind of it's getting better, but we have some issues getting people to use roles. So I would be hesitant people may not know that they need to request to get into the discussion again. Where if we keep it open and make it look like you can type in it, then you get the notice from Fishsticks. I think that's, from what I know, I think it's better. But, that's why we do it the way we do it.
We could do that too, Cal.
We'll start with you.
Well, I was going to say he's safe because, Florida people, we're all great. But
Pretty sure you and I are the only Florida people here, Neo.
I was born there.
But Doctor, they can't start.
I was there once.
Oh, well then, welcome.
If they start with me, not Doctor, how are you going to get your royalty check? See how easy that is? Alrighty. Okay, so we do have a couple minor things on the docket this evening. One of those was about changing website hosts. One was that we're pausing Wednesday game nights until Kessa and Shadow's childcare and work situation de-escalate. If anybody else wants to take on Wednesday game nights in the moment, let us know and we can get you all set up. But for the moment, Kessa's pausing them just for personal reasons.
Yeah, Dodge is working 13-hour days, so it's just sometimes without notice. So it's me and Sis has migraines. So it's too much right now. I love doing them, and I fully intend to resume them when possibly school reopens. Jeez, Bandit.
I might be able to help with that because of my new situation. So if you could send me more information in regards to that, I can see what I can.
I just realized my niece has been in my room and dragged out a bunch of cardboard pieces that, well, there are about 200 of them. Now they're everywhere. It's cute.
So was that ding dong sound like the toddler proximity alarm?
Whose doorbell went off?
Yours. Go answer it.
We don't have a doorbell.
Darn it.
We have a buzzer, but we typically don't answer it anyways.
Buzzer or buzzard?
Buzzer. We live in an apartment.
AJ, EC's event coordinators are the people with the green names. At the moment, on the server right this minute would be Silver Remington and Bacon Benny Bob. Yeah, that's their power. They can make announcements about their upcoming stuff. We don't really fully develop all that ECs can do as far as if an EC wanted to promote something really big, like a month away, and they wanted graphics for it and its own webpage and a bunch of announcements on Facebook and stuff, we can help them with all of that. But generally, ECs, yeah, I've said that many times.
I know I'm being facetious, I have been this whole time.
Anyway, the point is, no, most game nights and things like that, watch parties, things like that, they just they want to participate in the community. They want to organize something, and that's it. And we give them EC because they're good people and we like them, and they want to participate. So yeah, it's basically a role that almost anybody in the server could have if they're trusted to take on it. Oh yes, they also have their own channel for discussing planning and scheduling and stuff like that. Yeah, and I like that Cuss is making a distinction that it's not modding. It's it gives you the power as an individual to put together an event and broadcast it to everybody and keep it organized, but it doesn't, you don't have to take on any kind of moderation ability if you don't want to. And if you've never been to an event that's been run by any of our ECs, you should check them out because they really do try to go the extra mile to just give everybody something interesting to do or watch, or they're constantly looking at technology like the watch parties, for example. What would be the best way to show this to everyone and things like that. So they're constantly trying to up their game. Alrighty. That thing about Wednesday game nights was on the docket, and then we had a question about moving the website over to a new host. Was that something that you care to talk about, like in the open meeting, Kessa, like right now amongst the community? I mean,
Oh, what was the question?
about on the docket, you had like moving the website to a new host.
So that's not a discussion I can really add to, but the end of the year will come upon us eventually. Our server host bill will be due again. We need like what, Ping Jockey, Sky, you, I think, to
Have some
come to
website experience.
to awesome. But we need you guys to decide which servers to move the host, move the website.
Yeah, just reminding
transit.
us of our we have till October to do this, so time's running out.
You can
So
have
we
Fish
must-
Sticks remind you.
No, thank you.
So we must make the decision to shuffle. Got it.
As it stands right now, I would like to just kind of let's test everybody here. Does anybody here have trying to figure out the best way to say it. Do you have a compelling got to have response to our forums, or could you care less if the forums disappeared forever? Do you refer to the forums and go there to look for information or past really good posts? Do you not ever go to the forums? Oh, look, several people are typing. And as usual, the instant that I say, hey, maybe I should get a screenshot of that several people are typing thing, it doesn't say anything.
Wait, we have forums? Just kidding.
Point made.
Look at that.
I mean, I was going to suggest that. I mean, if there's a desire to at least keep them for historical purposes, I'm sure we can archive them out. And they're in PHPBB, right?
They are, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, cutting a PHPBB as a service in in wherever we decide to go, whether it's AWS or wherever, it's not going to be immensely cost prohibitive. So
Right. The only thing about our forums is the database file is in excess of 300 megabytes.
yeah, but I mean, we're talking maybe a couple of cents. I mean, storage is fairly cheap, especially if it's not being hit all the time, we could put it into infrequent access, and save a bit of, save a bit on that. But I mean, I have like, I don't know, maybe close to a terabyte worth of media files for my service in AWS, and it doesn't cost more than like $7 or $8 a month. It's not really that awful.
Right. I want to specify so people, in case anybody's getting confused about this,
Sorry.
we're not talking about the website itself. We have a website, but we also have forums. And people may use the website, but we're not so sure they use the forums. So if you're using the forums kind of interchangeably with the website, that where they're two separate things. I want to make sure that people knew that. Okay, all right, just checking. Yeah, the website is pretty useful in general, but the forums, most of what I've heard about the forums is people saying they would prefer to have it for historical purposes. And I do have to admit, we do refer to it sometimes when like old members come around or old trolls come around,
Well, in that particular case, then like I said, we create an infrequent access bucket in S3, place the PHP BB database files there, along with whatever custom mods are currently installed. We store PHPB to a hidden service running in AWS. So it's not doing a lot all the time. It's just kind of hanging out. Maybe a couple of dollars a month between that and storage. And if we ever need it, you can access it, or you just leave it turned off and just cut it on as needed, in your AWS console. So
that makes sense.
There's a lot of options. Yeah, there's a lot of options. I mean, it's just a matter of what the operational expenditure that is suitable for for the organization per month, and desire. So.
Well, I don't think even our website gets hit that heavy. So,
right.
Yeah, I think, for example, AWS for us, on an as-used basis, it would be pennies. Because we really don't get hit all the time. So. Alrighty, so that's definitely a discussion for some of our techs to get together and talk about. I've been meaning to do that with the Ping Jacket. We've just been doing so much lately with all of this since Friday the 13th, 2020.
Yeah, and I've been busy kind of making a whole company able to work remote too because of Corona. So just a hair busy.
Well, I'll tell you, the other thing I should mention to people, that, especially with Cyrus and Unreal talking about this in the chat, is we could actually add a limited new school type of forum to the website that would not be PHPB. It would literally be part of WordPress. The only problem with that is add stuff like that to the website, and the website gets slower and clunkier.
Oh, if we're leveraging WordPress and AWS as a service, then we can add resources on demand as needed. But I don't really foresee it being. It isn't going to be that bad. We'll size it appropriately, and it should run just fine.
Oh, so the scaling ability, or what you're saying is the scaling ability would cut us out from the slowdowns that we're experiencing.
Exactly. So let's say, and I'm sorry if I'm dragging the meeting into the weeds here. Hopefully, no one's drooling on themselves yet. But that's one of the plus sides of AWS, right? So whether you run WordPress as a service, or if you run WordPress as an AMI, there is ability to scale up and scale down resources as needed. So if all of a sudden we get 100,000 members, which would be epic, we had to ramp up the website. We could do that, right? It's not It's not that complicated. And on the flip side, if we have to roll back because we're using too many resources, it's again not that complicated. I do it all the time.
I just proved that Cal Hobbs wasn't listening. Anyway,
Well, you're dang right.
no, Ping
I
Jackie
was-
was saying he didn't want to drag the meeting off into the weeds. He hoped nobody's drilling on themselves. And I said Neo catches Cal Hobbs drilling in his general direction, and Cal Hobbs was like, "What?"
Yeah, you got me.
To answer Kessa's question, if things went completely sideways and stuff blew up, I could spin up a TeamSpeak server in AWS in about an hour. So now, with that being said, it's not cheap-ish. I mean, it'd be a couple of bucks more per month, but in a pinch, yes, I could have TeamSpeak up and running probably an hour. The longest part would be getting the external IP address and all the network mapping in place, opening up firewalls and whatever.
Let me ask you a personal question, Ping, if you don't mind.
Okay, sure.
You do this as a job all the time. Is having it be a part of your membership around here at all problematic for you? I mean, it's kind of like bringing work home, so to speak.
So my home office and my personal equipment all occupy the same space. So it's not like I can't escape from it even if I wanted to. It's fine. Really, a lot of the stuff once I get it all up and running, it's pretty much just runs on its own unless somebody does something silly and blows something up. But it rarely happens. I mean, I'm on here. I'm on a couple other Discord servers. I was up at 2 a.m. this morning doing storage upgrades for my day job, and I maintain a streaming music application. So I mean, so it's not that big of a deal.
Definitely something to talk about. I don't really think there's anything else. Anybody have anything else on this particular issue at all?
And if anybody's works in cloud or in tech IT information technology that wants to chat about it, I'm always willing and very open to having good spirited conversations about design directions and pros and cons, because I don't know everything, so it's always good to have help. So
All right. Well, yeah. Part of my question was basically I just didn't want to lean on you too heavily because, like, most people are part of CC in a fun hangout with their buddies, play games way, and I don't want to like force technical participation on someone if they don't want to be involved. So, just I want to make sure I'm not stepping across any line there.
oh, you're good. I'm not planning on getting hit by a truck anytime soon if that's what you're worried about. So.
Alrighty, this will be last call. Does anybody have any open meeting business of any kind, any suggestions, any questions? Doesn't matter what it's. If you've got a Bible study question, now's the time. If you've got a question about how a member of our community, thinks about whatever, just throw it out. Leave it to Bob to just throw the whole meeting into disarray with questions. Anybody at all?
There was a question about, are there any plans for meeting in person?
Oh wow! Well, we used to have CC meetups a long time ago. We haven't had
A
one in years.
long time ago.
I mean, actually, we used to have yearly member slideshows where people would send in their photos, and we'd do slideshows, set it all to music. And now people are like, do not show your face on the internet. So
Well, you don't have to show your face. You can show your cat.
Or you cute doggo.
I don't have one of those.
yeah, but that's not really a member slideshow. That's like a member pet slideshow.
Well, you couldn't. Fine. Each
I got-
member could have their own like two slides or something.
I got
I don't
none.
know.
I was gonna say I got nothing to hide. Y'all are more welcome to even add me on Facebook if you want.
Okay, I'll search for Ping Jackie. Ow, ow. Cat, stop!
I wonder if that would actually turn something up. Now I have to go look.
I'm gonna look. Ow.
Well, I've thought about meeting Cal Hobbs in person, but only because I've seen him eat cereal in a hurricane. And that just strikes me as adventurous.
That's me.
Wow, Cal.
Yep.
Am I muted or unmuted? I don't know the sound.
I hear
Now
you.
I
you're
can hear you.
unmuted.
He makes good breakfast burritos.
He does.
Oh yeah.
Cuban burritos.
Does.
Wait, are you being racist?
No, he makes good breakfast burritos.
He just because he's Cuban doesn't mean they're good.
I've had them.
What? Cal, you
I
let him
can't
have your
believe it.
burrito?
I actually made CC Bandit like kind of uncomfortable temporarily. That's cool.
You're racist.
There's so many people listening.
Yes.
I troll a troll.
Can I stop paying attention for the last 10 minutes? Are we done?
Yes. Yes, we are done.
Obviously, you are.
Killing the stream now.
From M. Rod's mouth to everyone else's ears.